you demonstrated your love for us, and by doing so, provided an example of how we are to share your love with others. Help us to slow down and refocus our attention on you. During these stations, we will say, "Lights off." When we say this, you will cover or close your eyes until we say, "Lights on." Then you will open your eyes. Lights off.
Lights on. The first station. Jesus is condemned to death. Jesus remained silent. He made no reply. Once again, Pilate interrogated him. "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" Then Jesus answered, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the Lord." At that, the crowd began chanting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Jesus, forgive me when I condemn other people to die. Although I don't actually sentence anyone to death, I sometimes don't speak to people. I treat them as though they didn't even exist. Sometimes, too, instead of encouraging others and believing in them, I put them down and, in a sense, I try to take the life out of them.
The second station. Jesus takes up his cross. The soldiers wove a crown of thorns and fixed it on Jesus' head, throwing around his shoulders a cloak of royal purple. Repeatedly, they shouted at him, "All hail, King of the Jews!" Jesus was led away by the soldiers and given a cross to carry.
Jesus, you take up the cross, those heavy beams. Some days when I wake up, I feel I have a heavy burden across my shoulders because of the way my family fights or other problems in my house. Sometimes it really weighs me down as I try to put it out of my mind. Help me to remember that you are walking beside me when life is tough. Lights off.
Lights on. The third station. Jesus falls for the first time. Jesus was tired and hurt from the beatings of the soldiers. The weight of the cross caused Jesus much pain and suffering. He fell to the ground because the cross was so heavy. Jesus, you fall beneath the weight of the wood. I also fall many times each day. Living is such a struggle. I'm lazy and don't study, and then I fail a test. When I'm aggravated, I can be mean and treat people with disrespect. When I'm jealous of others, I can say hateful things. Help me to always pick myself up as you did and try again.
Lights on. The fourth station. Jesus meets his mother. Frightened and alone, Jesus glanced out into the crowd, mocking him. There he sees his mother, Mary. He was happy she was near to give him strength. He wanted to speak to her, but she could not get close enough.
Jesus, you look into your mother's eyes and see her sadness. How many times have I looked into the eyes of my mother or father, only to see disappointment in me? I see sadness in my parents' face because I can be so selfish and ungrateful. They give me so much, and I give back so little in return. Help me in my promise not to let them down again. Lights off.
Lights on. The fifth station. Simon helps Jesus carry his cross. As the soldiers pushed Jesus on, they laid hold of a man named Simon, who was coming in from the fields. They put a crossbeam on Simon's shoulders for him to carry along behind Jesus. Jesus, how often you send me a friend to help me carry my burden. Thank you, Jesus. And how often you give me the chance to help others, but how often I refuse. You said in the gospel that when I give somebody even a cup of water, I'm giving it to you. Help me recognize you, Jesus, in the person of a needy stranger, in the person of a needy friend.
The sixth station. Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. Sweat and tears are dripping down from Jesus' face. Veronica, a woman in the crowd, comforts Jesus by wiping his face with her veil. A small comfort she can provide Jesus. In return, Jesus leaves a token of his thanks. An image of his face remained on the veil.
Jesus. Veronica wipes your bruised and bleeding face. Legend has it that your image was imprinted on her towel. Help me to take the towel of tenderness to the face of the suffering around me. The child in the slum, the people with AIDS, cancer, or other diseases, or the frightened immigrant who can't afford to leave a violent neighborhood. Right here in my city, in my town, are people in need of me. Help me, Jesus, to move beyond my self-centeredness, to pay attention to the world around me. Lights off.
Lights on. The seventh station, Jesus falls for the second time. Tired, exhausted, and hungry, Jesus falls for the second time. But he didn't give up. Instead, he stood up and began to walk again.
Jesus, I fall so often in so many ways. Sometimes it's when I do things wrong, but more frequently it's when I fail to do things I could do to make the world better. I ignore the life of poor people in the neighborhood and world and think only about getting money and things for myself. I never think about my suffering brothers and sisters who don't even have enough to eat each day. Help me to share what I have.
Lights on. The eighth station. Jesus meets the weeping women. A great crowd of people followed Jesus, including women who wept for him. Jesus turned to them and said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and your children."
Jesus, you meet these people of compassion along the way. I too meet people who want to help me. Relatives, teachers, coaches, older brothers and sisters. They stand there reaching out to me as these women reached out to you. Yet so often I reject their kindness, concern, and advice. I want to pretend that I'm self-sufficient, that I don't need anybody else. Help me, Jesus, to be open to the love of others who care about me. Lights off.
Lights on. The ninth station. Jesus falls a third time. Jesus struggles and falls for a third time under the weight of the cross.
Jesus, I get so discouraged. Sometimes I feel like a complete failure, clumsy or ugly or stupid, a person that no one wants. I get down on myself far too often. At those times, help me turn to you, because I know you always believe in me no matter what I'm like. You can see my goodness when I can't even see it myself.
Jesus is stripped of his clothes. The soldiers took Jesus' garments and divided them 3 ways, one for each soldier. There was also his tunic, but this was woven in one piece from top to bottom and had no seam. So they threw dice to see who would get the tunic.
You are stripped of all dignity, Jesus. So many people today are stripped of their dignity too. People make fun of those who are different from them. Sometimes I make judgments out of fear and ignorance, and because of prejudices I've learned growing up. Jesus, help me never to strip somebody else of his or her sacred dignity by my thoughtless words or actions. Lights off.
Lights on. The 11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. The people stood watching and jeering as Jesus was nailed to the cross. The soldiers also made fun of him, saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, then save yourself."
Jesus, I nail you to the cross every time I hurt another human being. It isn't nails I drive into them, but things like badgering my parents, bullying a younger brother or sister, aggravating or making fun of another kid. My lies and mean words have driven spikes into too many. Let me never do it again. Lights off.
Lights on. The 12th station. Jesus dies on the cross. As Jesus hangs on the cross, he cries out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Jesus prays to his Father, bows his head, and dies. Please kneel. Please be seated. Jesus, you die on the cross because you spoke the truth. You are crucified for being who you are. Sometimes I feel that I am also rejected for being who I am. So I wear masks, facades, false fronts, so that people can't see the real me. I am also afraid of being crucified, in a sense, for being who I am. Give me the courage to be open and honest and speak the truth about what I think, feel, and believe. Lights off.
The 13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. Jesus' lifeless body lies in his mother's arms. He has truly died, a profound sacrifice complete.
Jesus, when someone that I love dies, help me remember that you have given new life and that I can see that person in heaven. Let me be a comfort to others who are sad. Lights off.
Lights on. The 14th station. Jesus is laid in the tomb. Jesus' body was wrapped in clean linen and laid in the tomb. Then a huge stone was rolled across the entrance.
Jesus, teach me how to wait when I can't have what I want right away. Help me to pray even when you don't seem very near me. Lights off. Lights on. Yours are the hands of God. How did you use them today? Did they crush or caress? Did they ruin or bless? How did you use them today? Yours are the hands of God. The hands He lent you to use. Did they reach out in greed or to meet someone's need? Did you use them to heal or abuse? Yours are the hands of God. Use them well as you travel life's way. Turn with love to each task, for one day God will ask, what did you do with my hands today? Thank you for coming to the living stations of the cross. Please kneel and exit silently.